Okay, so I'm not sure what happened, but I am back. So here we are. Okay. So if you're just joining in and you missed what I've talked about, I talked about who I am. Again, I'm Ronita Aliece. I prefer to be called Aliece. I am a teacher of 15 years. I have mentored, I have taught elementary, I've taught middle, I've taught high, and today I want to focus on differentiated instruction because classroom management means a lot to me. You are not teaching anything if you do not have control of your classroom. So, how many of you have walked past the classroom and you have seen a teacher who is teaching a class and they're standing up at the board and you look at them, they're teaching, they know what they're talking about, but then you look at the students and they are looking at their phone, talking to their friend, drawing, doodling, not thinking about anything that the person in front of the classroom is sharing with them. Okay? I've seen it. I've seen it a lot. All right? That is not instruction. People, no one is learning anything during that time. You're not teaching anything, even though you may think you are, and the students definitely are not learning anything. Okay, so it's not working. All right. And one of the reasons why those lessons do not work is because you're not reaching every student that is in your classroom. It's very, 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 very important to reach every student if you want to maintain control in your classroom. Why? Because if you only address the students who are your higher level students, who you can teach them a skill and boom, they got it off on their own and they're doing it. That's not realistic. That's not the only students that you deal with in your classroom. That's not an effective lesson. Okay. You have students who are there who can take that skill, boom, and go with it after you teach them. There are then that second group that needs you to do a little bit more examples, a little bit more of an explanation, and then they might can go off and do it on their own. And then that's it. There's that group that just didn't get it at all, and they completely need you to reteach the lesson, or they didn't get previous skills that they should have grasped in order to execute whatever it is that you have them to do. So there are different levels, all right? No matter where you teach, no matter what you teach, there are going to be different levels in your classroom. It may only be 2 levels, it may be 3 levels, but there is never just one level in your classroom because that's unrealistic. It's unrealistic. Okay, so today what I wanted to do was to go through a differentiated instructed lesson plan, okay, that I created because I just love to do those things. So, all right, so what I have created is a differentiated instruction lesson plan. Let's see, can you see it? It's backwards, but all right, I'm gonna go through every part of the lesson plan tonight. It's a 2-page lesson plan, and I'll tell you where you can get the lesson plan later. But right now, I just want to go through it. So, all right, let's begin with the first thing, which would be your objective. Okay, your objective. Your objective is your goal. It's what you want your students to be able to do by, the end of the lesson. Okay, that's plain and simple. The next thing is your standard. Whatever your county or tells you that you need to do in your lesson plan, in your lessons, in your curriculum that's drawn out for the year. Of course, there's some standard that matches that. So, of course, you just go in and you find the standard that matches the skill that you are teaching. Okay. Normally, less objectives have changed throughout times. First, it was SWABOT, students will be able to. Then it changed to students will. Then it changed to students will do in order to blah, or students will do in order to know. It's just changed so much. So now what we've been getting, I can't speak for you and your school, but what we've been getting lately is students will do. Students will do. That's it. Students will create a story map for Medea. I don't understand the point. I still do. Students will in blank in order to blank. That's what works for me. That's what I do. But of course, you want to go with whatever your school has asked you to do because different folk have different things. Thank you for my shirt. Yes, thanks. I love coffee. Thank you. All right. So that's the objective. That's the standard. Now, your warm up. Your warm up should be a question or something to engage your students in the goal of the lesson. Remember, what you consider important may be important. What you consider to be important may not be important to them. So your warm up is the perfect opportunity to get your students geared up in whatever it is that you're trying to teach. Okay, this should be your starter. If you're teaching nouns, maybe it's a slideshow of nouns to some type of hype music that the students listen to nowadays. Okay, it's your motivation to get them started into whatever it is that you're going to do for the day. It doesn't always have to be a question. It could be an activity. Watch this slideshow and identify everything you see. Okay, and it could be pictures of things, person, place, and things, and they're identifying them. And then once they're done with the warm up, then you go over what they saw. Okay, and then you say, guess what, guys? What you saw was a noun. And that's what we're going to learn for the day. And boom, you done moved into your lesson. Okay. And there's different ways that you can utilize that. But again, your warm up is not something that's in depth, that's supposed to take this whole 20, 30 minutes to complete. It shouldn't be copying the vocabulary. It could be a quiz, but again, it's a short quiz. So it's like 3 to 5 questions at the most that they can answer quickly. But this should not be something that is elongated and takes up a whole lot of time. It's a warm up. Warm them up. Get them motivated to do whatever it is that you want them to do for today. For the day. So that's what your warm up is all about. Okay. And then your teacher moment. This is your guided instruction. Now, so many people have done PowerPoints and have just read what is up on the slide. That is not teaching. Okay. That is not sharing information in which your students are able to understand. Your instruction needs to be interactive as well, okay? Not just you dishing everything out to them and just them copying notes, but in your instruction, you want to place some questions because you want to make sure while you're teaching that the students are getting it. I would hate for you to have this wonderful, great idea and you go from start to finish, and at finish, none of your kids understand anything you were talking about. Okay, so you got to make sure that your instruction is very guided and is very detailed. Water it down. Talk to them like they're a 3-year-old. I teach high school. My instruction is watered down for elementary students so that I know every student can get it. Okay, and the system that I have that I'm going to talk about tonight, I would have my students at the yellow level. I would have my lesson, my instruction at the yellow level. That's my middle student. That's my students who can somewhat get the information, may need a little more instruction, but pretty much almost have it. Okay. I would rather teach at that level. Okay. And the reason why I would teach at that level is because I know my green students will get it. They're the ones that catch on fast. I can throw out a couple of examples during my guided instruction and they get it and they can move on and do it on their own. My yellow students, they're really listening. They're really involved in the instruction, trying to understand what it is that I'm teaching them and I'm geared towards them. My red students, those are where your behavior problems are. Those are where your students are sitting back being quiet. Those are where your students are not really writing anything down. They just sitting there thinking that you're getting the fact that they ain't getting it because they're not going to tell you. They just want you to read their mind because that's what they do. Be observant. Know that they're there. Okay? So during your instruction time, those red students, they not getting it at all. They're not even trying to get it because when you introduced it, they knew they already didn't know how to do something that they needed to do in order to do what it is that you wanted them to do. What am I talking about? Example, if you were teaching 2-step equations, right? Forget it. Let's go to 1-step. You were teaching 1-step equations. In order to do those equations, right, you have to be able to add and subtract, sometimes multiply and divide. If you can't divide or you can't multiply, you're lost before the lesson even starts. Okay, I'm done. Ms. Moselle, I can't do it because you talk about 2x plus 7 equals 16. I don't even know what 2 times 2 is. There's no way I'm able to even fathom completing this lesson because I don't have the basic skills to complete it. However, during your instruction, I'm either going to listen and fake like I got it, or yeah, I'm not listening at all. I'm texting. I'm talking to Keisha about what's about to happen at lunch. I'm just not into anything that you're saying because I just don't get it. Okay? So your instruction, your guided practice needs to meet your yellow students, because even if you have your red students and you throw a couple of things in there, you probably are able to keep their attention, but you at least know when you're teaching that, hey, I don't got you. I'm definitely gonna have to pull you for small group. Okay, so guided instruction, that's what that's all about. Now, here on my lesson plan, again, okay, so we just went through objective, we talked about standard, we talked about the warm-up. Again, the warm-up is an activity, get them warmed up. Don't have them doing nothing for no 10, 15, 20 minutes, because then you have them doing an assignment. Okay, warm them up to get them into the lesson for the day. Okay, all right, so then I just talked about the teacher moment and how you need to try to reach your students at the yellow level. Teach at the yellow level so that you have the majority of your class, and you know the stragglers that you do not have, you have to probably more than likely pull them for a small group. Okay, so after you teach your lesson, you do your guided practice, do a quick assessment. Okay, now, the quick assessment, I would say, should be a multiple choice, especially if you're going to use, hold that. This little gadget I have right here, okay? I created this. This is a traffic light, all right? It's something like a nameplate that you pretty much can laminate. Again, I'll tell you about it later. Laminate and put on your desk like a nameplate, right? Boom. And then you pose the question in your PowerPoint, all right? You have them solve a problem, or you have them complete a sentence and having to put a noun in a blank, or whatever it is, it needs to be multiple choice, okay? And then when you have multiple choice, you should have 3 options. Have an option that would be considered the correct answer, point blank, period, okay? That would be your green student. Then you have a yellow answer, which is close to the correct answer, but they're off, okay? For example, if they were solving an equation, okay, I used to teach math, I'm always gonna refer back to math. So they're solving an equation, right? And the answer is -2, but they put +2. That would be a yellow student because they may just need to be refreshed on integers, okay? Calculations are right. However, because they're confused about signs, they need to just be addressed on that, but they get the concept of solving an equation, okay? That would be your yellow student. Your red student, yeah, that's your baby, okay? That's the one where you said 2 times 2, and they said the answer was 4. No, that's right. I'm sorry. Like they said 2 times 6, and they said the answer was 8. And clearly 2 times 6 is 12. Okay, completely wrong. That means they cannot multiply. Like I just had a brain fart. Sorry. They can't multiply. So I need to pull you for small group because I'm going to have to completely put the lesson to the side and go over multiplication because, baby, you ain't finna get these equations if you can't even multiply. Okay, so that quick assessment, like I said, will let you know where your students are right after you do your guided instruction. Okay, before you get into your group activity or your independent practice assignment. Okay, so wonderful tool. All right, now normally you do a group activity, which I did not put on my lesson plan, and I'm seeing it now, and I may change that. If it's requested, I'll change it, but if not, I'm going to leave it the way it is, okay? But your group activity is now something where the students can get into small groups, and normally I would put a green, a yellow, and a red together in a group so that I can make sure that this one does not feel like they're not capable or don't feel like a contributor to the classroom because they just don't get it. But if you're placing them with students who do get it, they would still feel somewhat accomplished because they're not out on their own, not knowing nothing. Okay, so small group instruction, group activity. Your group activity could be something like Kahoot, if you're familiar with Kahoot. If not, I'll talk about that in a whole nother video. Or you can use Edpuzzle, another wonderful tool. And both of those, the students can use their phones. Boop, now the phone is not a headache because you're using it because I want you to use it, not because you want to use it. I love it. I love doing that to them. Okay. All right, sorry about that. All right, so the group activity could be any one of those things, or it could be something where you put them in groups. Like when I taught one of my students, because lately I've been having my Drama 2 students teach my Drama 1 students. That's another wonderful technique that I can also do a video on if you're interested. But so one of my students today, after they did their lesson and they did their Kahoot, they rewarded the students before they went through the incorrect answers. I lost my train of thought. But anyway, they went through the incorrect answers when the students did the Kahoot. So like say Kahoot is multiple choice. If the students got it wrong or he saw that a number of students got the answer wrong, he went back and referred to the notes or referred to information that he went through before and discussed, hey guys, what happened? Why did we get this wrong? Because earlier I had said, okay, and refresh the student's memory. So again, the group activity could be anything. So no, I was talking about props. That's what I was talking about. All right, so I was talking about props. So the students, each group was given a prop, some type of prop that they had to use. And I gave them 5 minutes to come up with a scenario in which they had to utilize the prop that was given to the group. This let me know that they understood what the prop is and the use of a prop as an actor. Okay, so they had to utilize this prop. For example, one group tried to use a stapler as a gun. Now, in their scene, they didn't make it seem as though it was a joke, like we're students and we sneaking up on you faking like we got a gun. They really tried to make it seem like it was a robbery scene. So, of course, I had to go into the explanation that that's not correct because the prop is a stapler. So if you're not telling a joke, you cannot use the stapler as a gun. It's not a gun, it's a stapler. So therefore, what would have been the appropriate scene that you could have created for the stapler? Classroom, in an office, something like that. Okay. So even during your group activities, that can become a teachable moment for your students to, again, reinforce whatever it is that you taught for the day before they get to their independent activity. Provide as many opportunities as you can for them to grow so they can feel capable when they complete their work, because a lot of them will just shut down if they look at the assignment and they're like, I can't get it. I'm not going to do it. So I'm about to get on your nerves. I'm about to talk. I'm about to be on my phone. I'm about to keep asking you, can I go to the bathroom? I'm about to sit here and get on the phone with Tanisha because I'm bored. Ain't nobody got time for that. So we need to try to fix it. Thank you, Alicia. Yeah, I try to make them fun and engaging. But anyway, all right. So getting to the independent assignment activity, okay? So that's the next thing that is on my lesson plan sheet. And again, I have green, yellow, and red. It goes back to the traffic lights, okay? Once you've given that quick assessment and you've done your group activity, you can go back and look, and provide them with an independent activity that relates to them. You don't want your students to be bored. You don't want to give them your green students something easy that they can finish in 5 minutes, and then it's still 25 minutes left in class. You need to give them something that is more challenging. So, for example, again, using math, say you're doing two-step equations, okay? And the goal is to be able to solve those two-step equations. Your green students are able to do it. You taught it. They did a group activity. They can knock it out. So for your green students, you would want to give them a sheet with a student who had incorrect problems. Okay. These students have to analyze those incorrect problems and identify where the student messed up and what they needed to do to correct the problem. Okay. Because they know how to solve it. And here you're reinforcing that they know how to solve it. You can even make them explain how to solve two-step equations in a paragraph. Okay. Those green students should have something more challenging, a more activity. I know you don't know what it means, but I know what it means. Don't worry about it. Okay. So yes, green should be a challenging activity. So your yellow are your students, again, who needed a few more examples. So again, math, if you were doing two-step equations, you can have these students just do 5 equations that they need to get correct within a certain period of time, or they just need to do it once with no error. When they can do that, they're ready to move on to your green. There's no need to hold them back or make them keep doing it. Look, I did the 5, I got it. Okay, let's move on to the green. Move on to the green. There's no point of staying with the yellow. The students are going to get bored. They're going to start talking. They'll start misbehaving. And again, we're trying to maintain control in the classroom. So this differentiated instruction is going to help you. It's a blessing. Okay, it's a blessing. All right. So then the red, that's your small group. That's your group of students that you want to pull to the side, that you want to reteach. Look, y'all didn't get it at all. Let's do this problem. And y'all come with me. Let me look and see where y'all messing up at. Okay, so I see here, you guys are having problems with multiplying, or you guys are having problems with division. Okay, so let's just do a couple of multiplications or division problems. And then let's move to one-step equations. And then let's move to two-step equations. I see I got to work with y'all because y'all missed something. There's a gap loss. All right. The students will appreciate you for that. And your goal is to, again, move them to yellow so then that they can move to green. We don't want to keep anybody here. We don't want to keep anybody here. We want to give them practice, give them tools, resources that they can use so that at the end of the day, they are here. Okay. Our goal is to get them to green. Once they've gotten to green, they've mastered the skill. You know that they understand it, but you need to get them there. Okay. So many times we get mad at our students because their behavior problems, they get on our nerves, they talkative, they don't want to do this, they put their head down, want to go to sleep. 9 times out of 10, I promise you, is because they don't know how to do it. They don't know how to do it, and they don't want to tell you that they don't know how to do it. They expect you to read their mind. You and I both know, yeah, we don't read minds here, but they expect you to. Okay. And unfortunately, with these millennium children, they lazy. They lazy. So you're going to have to be on your P's and Q's so you can get them to their S and T's. Okay. I just picked that up. I don't know what that means, child. Go with it. All right. So that's the independent practice. So after they finish their independent practice assignment, okay, you can either go over it or you can just take it in to collect it so that you can use it to determine what you're going to teach in the next lesson and how you're going to go with the next lesson. But you give them that independent assignment, you collect it. After that, this is the second page of my lesson plan sheet, okay, is the exit ticket, okay? Can you see it? Okay. All right, exit ticket. All right, so your exit ticket is again another assessment. It's kind of like your quick assessment, but this one you want to get them to get a little more into the writing part, not just like if it is equations, again with math, you want them to explain it here. Don't just give them a 2-step equation and have them solve it. Maybe explain the steps in solving a 2-step equation. So where they're not even solving a problem, but they're explaining to you how they could solve a problem. Okay, that's where your exit ticket needs to be. And it does not, again, have to be so formal, something that's written. Sometimes I do my exit tickets on a card, index card, and have the students just write it quickly on index card. You ain't got a lot of space, so I don't need you to say much. Boom, it's done. Sometimes I use Padlet, which is another online resource where the students can go and put in their answer and it'll pop up on the screen in the classroom. Sometimes I do Kahoot. Again, another quick assessment, and you can get the scores and see what people got wrong so you know how people did. That's another one. Now, one thing that I do find fun, and not just because I teach drama, but any class you teach, I feel like you can utilize this tool, is I use Google Classroom in my class. All right. And what I'll have my students do, because they love to be on Snapchat and Instagram and Facebook and doodle that and wherever. Okay. They love taking pictures of themselves. They love talking to themselves. They love being on the phone because they're addicted. I call it a drug because they're addicted and they can't just put it down. But anyway, so what I'll have them do is I'll have them do a video. I'll ask a question for my extra ticket question. And because I don't feel like reading what you wrote and going through all them papers, it's quicker for me, actually, as a teacher, to just watch your video. Explain to me how to solve a two-step equation in a video. Submit it on Google Classroom. Nobody else will see it. I'm the only person that's going to watch. Blue. My students will either do it and act like they just a commentator on a news report, or the other ones will just put it down here and you only hear their voice, but they're still getting it done. They found that easier because, again, they're a little lazy. Find it easier to just do the video than to have to sit and write something. And some of them aren't comfortable with writing. So to do this video, I can get it done because I don't got to write anything. I can just say what I'm trying to say and Miss Morcell will get it. Okay. So extra tickets, different ways you can do it, but that is one of my favorites, video. Okay. Then we get down to the homework portion of your lesson plan. And just like your independent practice, you want to color it out. You want to give them a homework assignment that is on their level. You don't want to give them 20, 25 problems. It's homework. You're trying to see if they can do it on their own. You don't want to stress them out. You should not give more than 5 problems. 1, because you don't want to have to check all that. 2, they should be able to show you that they understand in 5 problems. They should not have to do 10, 20 problems because you're just working them to death. And they're not going to want to perform for you because you're working them to death. Okay? Go to my YouTube channel. Check it out. Students have said teachers ditto us to death. And sometimes I don't even feel like they know what they're talking about. Okay? Don't give them 50 million problems for homework because you're not fitting to get it back. Okay? And another important thing about homework is that it's about completion, not accuracy. I want you to do my homework because then I know you put in some practice. But if you got it wrong, I'm not fitting to penalize you for that. I'm happy that you completed my homework assignment on your own, at home, in whatever toxic environment that you live in, you made an attempt. And I appreciate that. Completion, not accuracy. Because we all know students do not do homework. So if you want to start getting your homework assignments in, let them know. It's about completion, not accuracy. I'm not worried about whether you get it right or wrong. I'm worried about you doing it and getting the practice in. Now, some people may be like, well, if you tell them that, then why would they even be motivated to actually put an effort into getting the answer right? Because you have to build that relationship, that rapport with your students and let them know that I work on the honesty method. Okay, we work on the truth serum here. If you say you tried, then you really need to have tried because I can't help you. I can't get you to the next level. I can't help you grow if you're not even making a real attempt to get the work done. If you're faking me out, ain't nobody got time for that. Do it for real. My students know. Okay. And then the last thing on the lesson plan, of course, is the teacher reflection, reflecting on your lesson for today. Okay, we ask our students to do it all the time, to reflect on their personal performance in the class. Why can't we do that for ourselves? Why can't we reflect on our own work? Okay, it makes sense. Think about what you taught for today. Think about your warm-up. Think about your teachable moment, your guided practice. Did those work for you? And if they didn't work for you, what can you do to make it better? What can you do to improve it? Okay? That's what it's there for. Reflect on your teaching. That's how we grow as educators. We can't grow if we never take a sit back and look at our own techniques and practices. Okay? So I was hoping and waiting for questions. I don't really have any questions. Thank you, Pure, for the love of the vlog, the channel. So, yeah. So, again, my focus is classroom management. And one of the things that is very important in classroom management is differentiated instruction. These tools are available in my Teacher Pay Teacher store. So, if you go to teacherpayteacher.com and then / Ronita Aliece Present, you'll find my lesson plan, and you'll definitely be able to utilize that in there. And then you'll also find my traffic lights. Okay, it's a full sheet with about 3. It's one with 3, and then a smaller one that has 4 traffic lights per page, where you can get it, cut it out, laminate it, and again, put it on your student's desk so that when you do those quick assessments, boom, they can put a pencil, they can put a penny, they can put whatever it is you want them to put right there on the thing, so you know whether they understand the lesson or not. Okay. The third tool that I wanted to offer is my classwork planning sheet. Okay. This is to help you plan out your guided practice, your independent assignment. Okay. The vocabulary here is any vocabulary words that the students will need to be able to reach the objective. All right. For example, if you were working on nouns and you knew you wanted to go online and pull some worksheet off a line, or there's some curriculum that you have where they give you a textbook and then there's a workbook that has the dittos in them. But you know, on the worksheet, there are some vocabulary words that the students may have problems with or that they may find unfamiliar. Those words should be included in your vocabulary. Okay. I can't complete a sentence if I don't know what most of the words in the sentence mean. Like how I'm gonna fill in the blank. That's not gonna happen. Okay. So that vocabulary, again, should be full of those words, not just the vocabulary that you want them to use in the blanks, but what the other words mean. Okay. We cannot assume that the students know. All right. So definitely think about that. And then, like I was telling you earlier about the different lessons that you can do at the different levels. This is the activity sheet to help you plan out what it is that you're going to do. And then you transfer it to the lesson plan. Okay. You can work it out here first. Let me make sure I got my thoughts and my minds together. And then you can put it here on your lesson plan sheet. It's supposed to be all pretty up for those visitors that we have that come in the classroom. They want to see a lesson plan. Okay. So that's what this is for. And you can also find this in my Teacher Pay Teacher store. So these 3 products are available in my Teacher Pay Teacher store. And if you found this video to be useful at all as far as differentiated instruction, please, please, please share. I love shares. Please, please, please. And definitely subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions and you view this video later after the live feed is done, I will definitely get back to you to answer your questions or assist you in any way that I can. I'm here to help you. I'm here for struggling teachers. I'm here for new teachers. I'm here for students who feel like your teachers are not helping you because they just not. Okay, I'm here for you too. I'm here for all of those. I want everybody to be successful and to feel capable. I don't want any teachers feeling left behind, and I don't want any students feeling left behind. So whatever I can do to assist you, I'm always rhyming. Tell my students all the time, I got bars, son. Channel Ronita Aliece Presents. You can find me on Facebook, Ronita Aliece. You can find me on Instagram, Ronita Aliece Presents. You can find me on Twitter, Ronita Aliece Presents. You can find me everywhere with a Ronita Aliece Presents. You can Google me, Ronita Aliece, and you'll find me. I really appreciate and thank you guys for watching, and I hope to talk to you again soon. Bye. Thanks, Alicia.